In 2006, the Democrats were elected to control Congress with the mandate to end the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And not only have they not cut off funding for the war, but they have given Bush every penny that he has asked for, including just last month when they gave $162 billion to keep the war going on until the middle of 2009. So this war is the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi's war every bit as much as it is the Republicans' war. And we're here to tell Nancy Pelosi that we do not welcome warmongers in our town. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we need to, well, ultimately we need to figure out a way to democratically control what the money is done within our country, and certainly 70% of Americans are opposed to this war, so it should not be spent waging war in Afghanistan, but we certainly owe reparations to the Iraqi people, and American taxpayers' dollars should actually go to repair a country which we have torn to pieces, not only in the most recent war, but over the last 13 years through sanctions, which has killed millions of people, including 500,000 children during Clinton's reign, when Secretary of State Madeleine Albright was asked if it was worth it to have 500,000 Iraqi children die as a result of the sanctions, and she said yes, it was. So this is a bipartisan war where we have destroyed a country that never did anything to us, and we owe that country a lot. So absolutely we need to fund human needs here in this country, but we also need to repair that country. We need to give billions in reparations to a country that we have destroyed that never did anything to us.
Well, I think the first step would be to stop the funding of the war.
Oh, he's like the head.
But that's not going to happen with either the Democrats or the Republicans in the White House, because unfortunately 2 years ago, when the Democrats took over Congress, they just continued going along with the Republicans. I think it shows that we have a criminal government that is waging war against people at home as well as people in Iraq and Afghanistan and other countries of the world. So I'm personally, and with other people in the state, supporting Cynthia McKinney, who's running as the Green Party candidate for president, and she calls for the immediate withdrawal of all the troops from Iraq and Afghanistan and stop the bloated war funding that's going on, and funding schools and health care and all the needs of the people of this country instead.
I work about a mile from the Longfellow Bridge, which is closed down to one lane right now because they've been neglecting it. And there's so many things that need money here, and it's being squandered away on a war, a useless, senseless war.
My name is John Brown from East Greenwich, Rhode Island. I'm with the Peace Coalition in Rhode Island, also with the ISO. And when we came here today, we were asked to move way down the street here, and caused me a lot of concern. I spoke with these officers, and we were able to speak about the First Amendment, and I think they recognized our position, and we've been able to maintain this position since. And I think it gives us a better ability to get out the information that we want to get out and make the statements that we want to make.
It was the same bullshit then, but I wasn't aware of it. What are you aware of when you're 19 years old, 20 years old? That stuff goes on, you don't even know about it, you don't care. It takes a few years to wake up. In my case, a lot of years. But once you do wake up, then you never can go back. Just to go on, keep going forward. Piss on George's grave. If I have one in my yard, I made myself there. And I do, I go piss on it. Every once in a while it makes me feel good, yeah. It relieves a certain amount of pressure in both areas. The graveyard I have, Bush was the one I started with, then I put in Cheney, Rice, Patriot Act, Rumsfeld, on and on. I got about 10 now. So it takes about 3 beers to cover the The idea of our privacy is a big thing with me, And when they started telling librarians what to do with the information they had about what books we read and what we do, and then putting a clamp on them not even to tell people about it, that really pissed me off very much. There's a lot of other things too, as they get down into the habeas corpus thing and stuff like that. It's it's not part of our democracy, or it shouldn't be. You know, it's restricting our rights to speak.
Oh, in 1955.
I think the whole thing should be dumped. Some people say there's a few good parts of it, but I don't know. I don't know what they are.
I'm out here protesting against Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, one of the most prominent Democrats in the United States government, because she's a war criminal who's guilty of genocide in Iraq. She's voted for hundreds of billions of dollars for the war, invasion and occupation of Iraq, and you know, over 1 million Iraqis have been killed there. And she's also a big supporter of Israel, where there's apartheid, and they're killing the indigenous Palestinian Arabs there. And she supported the Israeli attack on Lebanon in the summer of 2006, where the Israelis used cluster bombs and killed thousands of people in Lebanon. And she's spoken at rallies in favor of the war against Sudan, and falsely accused the Sudanese government of genocide, and called for UN troops, tens of thousands of UN troops, to go in there. And she got up at this big rally against Sudan in DC a couple of years ago and said that she agreed with President Bush about Sudan. She really agrees with President Bush about everything, but you know, that's where she admits she agrees with him. Yeah, well, I mean, the U.S. is controlled by white people whose ancestors come from Europe, who came here as colonists. This is a colony. It's a European colony on another continent.
Was there question and answer?
Well, I sent a question. She didn't answer it.
Right there.
Well, no, I sent her a card.
I mean,
no,
what
we
is
had a
all
stack of
cards
cards.
and-
to New England and
All right.
Coke's not going to
But it
be
was
here?
just, it was
screened, right?
personal. It was very, it was personal questions, you know, like about 13-year-old girls. What do you say to 13-year-old girls?
How do you inspire them?
Inspire 13-year-old girls? Yeah,
Well,
give
you
me
know,
a
it helps
friggin'
a
break.
lot if you come from a rich family and your daddy was in politics. At the same time she was doing all that, I was working in the tobacco fields for school clothes. You know?
Nancy Pelosi isn't from the working class. She's not from
No, she's from.
Are you shocked?
I'm shocked.
But she is pretty empty. That's why she hasn't gotten a damn thing
empty
accomplished.
shell, and she is a liar.
John Harris. I'm with the Greater Boston Stop the Wars Coalition. We initiated this protest here in opposition to the war maker, and that's what we call Nancy Pelosi. She's a war maker. I think the anti-war message has to get out there on a grassroots level all over the country. I'm part of an effort to organize protests on October 11th this fall to really send a message to the war makers in Washington, the Congress, the President, the world at large, that you know, we're not being fooled here. We realize that this is a bipartisan war, that it's Nancy Pelosi and her leadership in Congress that keeps the war going, that she led an effort to fund the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq with $162 billion. This is a